This episode brought to you by Stamps.com. Why go to the store to get stamps when you can have them printed right at home for your convenience? Hello, I'm the Nostalgia Critic. I remember so you don't have to. And I have a confession to make. I have never seen The Witches.
Wait, that's not that bad.
I know I've talked about it time and time again on this show, but I've never actually seen it all the way through.
I really don't give a shit.
But with the remake coming out this year, I insist that you torture me any way you see fit!
Well, that we can do.
With Robert Zemeckis' latest cry of, please let me do something, it only figures to finally look over the beloved dark fantasy from 1990. You see, when I was young, I wasn't allowed to see it because it was said to be too scary, which, like any kid, encouraged me to see it more. So I went to a friend who had it, but we didn't have time to watch the whole thing, so I simply said, show me all the scary scenes. And the few segments I saw did not disappoint. Now, exactly 30 years later, I guess it only makes sense to watch the movie that came with those scenes. The film has a ton of talent associated with dark storytelling. The director of the classic Don't Look Now, Nicholas Roeg, producer Jim Henson, who has plenty of creepy shit in his arsenal, and of course the beloved children's author who said, fuck your bedtime story, your pants need some shitting. That's obviously a great combo. I guess I'm just saying, don't plan on me explaining the impact this had on tons of kids, as I'll be experiencing that impact here today. But I do know a lot of people love how messed up it is, so it only makes sense to check out why. Let's see why everyone went, "Aw, shit!" before they went, "Ah, shit." This is The Witches. We get a really long opening shot flying over these snowy hills, so naturally, this takes place during a particularly warm fall.
Witches spend their time plotting to kill children.
Sounds like one of the nicer openings to a Roald Dahl story. This is Luke, played by Jason Fisher, who listens to stories from his grandmother because if his parents aren't dead yet, they soon will be.
I traveled the world in search for the Grand High Witch.
And I'm instantly not going to miss them because this grandma is awesome. She tells the story about a girl named Erica who was nabbed by witches when she was a child. Her father is terrified to find somehow her image has made its way onto the painting in their house.
The peculiar thing was that little Erica kept on changing her position.
Did you see her moving in the picture?
No, that effect would be too expensive. The girl grows older in the picture until one day she vanishes, presumably dying or someone snuck paint thinner into her coffee. I do hope this is referenced later for 2 seconds and then never brought up again.
Everything all right, Mother?
Very all right.
Goodbye, Mom.
Good night, son.
Good night, Dad.
I'll see you at the funeral. She tells Luke how witches hate the smell of clean children, but a dirty child is an invisible scent.
To a witch she would smell absolutely disgusting.
What kind of disgusting?
Christ, I'm saying lay off the chipotle, all right? The next morning, Luke gets an unpleasant surprise.
Mom? Dad?
Oh, God. Put a search out for all runaway rhinos.
Hello, Evesham. I'm afraid I have some bad news.
I have what's left of Luke's mother in this scarf. Martha Stewart said delivering big news should always be like unwrapping a present.
Come here to me. Sit on my lap, all right?
Grandma tells Luke about his parents' death and decides to go home with her to England. With such a heavy scene for children to watch, let's lighten the mood.
I've got something for you here. Something I think you'll like. I just wanted to give you this.
Well, that was like going from Child's Play to The Good Son. It's lighter, but is it?
Perhaps you'd like some chocolate. Here you are, a big bar of chocolate.
Fresh from Willy Wonka's torture tunnel. This one has extra feline and rodent.
Luke, it's dinner time.
His grandma scares her away and gives Luke his birthday gift. But soon after, she passes out.
Your granny has a very mild case of diabetes.
Either that or it's a witch's hex. If she does any strange things with a crucifix, let me know.
Like what?
You'll know.
I'm sorry for spoiling your birthday for you and for giving you a fright.
Is it alright if I play with William and Mary now?
After you give them more creative names than that, who raised you, paper?
When Grandma gets better, we're going with her to a hotel by the ocean. Well, I'll tell you, it's big.
It's the welcoming warmth I love about this movie. They do eventually make their way to that hotel, but a nasty customer named Miss Ernst, played by Angelica Houston, checks in as well.
Ah, Miss Ernst. I am the owner of the hotel.
Too many Americans kept confusing me for John Cleese, so screw it, I'm just playing Basil Fawlty.
The raisins are all around the edge of these cakes.
Luke meets a kid named Bruno, who's obsessed with food because, you know, fat!
Oh, you've got those excellent cakes again. Except when they use margarine instead of butter.
Eating is the only identity for large kids in Roald Dahl books. My God, Mr. Bean and Benny Hill in the same room. Oh, sorry, my mix-up. Like I said, Americans confuse Atkins and Cleese all the time. Luke knows he'll get in trouble if his mice are spotted, so he hides in an empty room that's soon to become very filled. I knew it. This is a Rocky Horror screening.
Hey, Mom, your soup.
Sweet, this is totally my thing. Was my thing. This is what happens when you get the effects guys from Aliens to do your cute little kids movie. No joke, these effects are as spectacular now as they were when they first premiered. Well, okay, that's a little obvious. Sure, that could be blended a little better. Okay, a lot of it could be blended better. It's a little disturbing. Her chin looks like Mr. Burns' ballsack. And I'm sorry, I'm just thinking of all the kids traumatized because their parents thought this was the same kind of PG as Inside Out. And by God, I've got to give a standing ovation to this.
My orders are every child shall be rubbed out. Do I make myself clear?
Not sure if they put guys as witches because it's a progressive coven or they just wanted to save on bald makeup.
We can't possibly wipe out all of them.
You dare to argue with me?
That sounded like someone's eyes lasering someone to death.
And resign from your jobs.
Hey, remember when Jennifer Lawrence complained about being that Mystique makeup? This scene is over 10 minutes long, and Houston is stuck in that shit for guaranteed most of the shooting day. And she must have taken Doug Jones meditation classes because you never know she was uncomfortable given her performance. She reveals her plan for the witches to purchase candy stores and lace all the sweets with a potion to turn all the children into mice. In fact, their first subject, Bruno, is about to be their literal test mouse. Because fat.
That lady promised me 6 whole bars of chocolate. I've come to collect.
What a title little puke. Thought about working online? My death is hilarious. Jesus, it's like Fable the Mouse after a meth highball. I don't care if this came out in 90. This is an honorary 80s shit your pants film. He's transformed into a mouse and Luke is discovered shortly after. Tables, which is natural enemy. And small stone fences. You know, they're becoming less threatening the more they're on screen. This movie's friendly enough. Let's throw an attempted baby murder on top of everything. Guess it is pretty funny. Luke saves the baby and eventually escapes, but he discovers Miss Ernst has poisoned his grandma. They capture Luke and force him to take the potion, turning him into a mouse. And with Jim Henson's brilliant puppetry, I'm sure you can't tell the difference between that and the real thing. Still looks better than CG. Luke escapes from the witches and meets up with Bruno, who even when he's not fat, has the personality of fat.
Are you okay? They didn't give me the 6 bars of chocolate they promised. promise.
Clearly, my biggest concern. If it's a problem I can't eat, it doesn't exist.
Kerastase, Gloss Absolute. With hyaluronic and glycolic acids, wild rosin oil, glazes your hair. 4 days anti-frizz, bouncy, glossy hair. Mesmerizing scent, Gloss Absolute. Kerastase.
Discover the world of double. Back in McDonald's Happy Meal now. How quickly can you spot the match? Doubles bursting with fun. What will you discover? Some fun, some food, it's all inside this Happy Meal.
Take control of your energy with a smart plan. Save up to €880 on dual fuel when you switch to our smart all-day plan. Plus, get a €200 welcome bonus. Old Gosh Energy. Know your power.
You there, listen to me. I don't know many things. Thank you. Oh wait, I should probably say what those things are. This holiday season, people will be mailing stuff more than before. That means the post office is going to be busy. You don't have time for that. You don't. Stamps.com brings the post office and now UPS shipping right to your computer. Mail and ship anything from the convenience of your home or office. With Stamps.com, anything you can do at the post office, you can do with just a few clicks. Plus, Stamps.com saves you money with deep discounts you can't even get at the post office. Fireworks! Wait, that's a different holiday. Jack-o'-lanterns! With Santa hats. American Santa hats. Stamps.com brings the U.S. Postal Services and UPS services right to your computer. Stamps.com is a must-have for any business, whether you're a small office sending out invoices, an online seller fulfilling orders during this record-setting holiday season, or even a giant warehouse sending out thousands of packages a day. Stamps.com can handle it all with ease. It's simple. Simply use your computer to print any U.S. postage 24/7 for any letter, any package, any class of mail, anywhere you want to send. Once your mail is ready, just schedule a pickup or drop it off. It's that simple. American Eagle with American Santa hats. With Stamps.com, you get 5 cents off every first-class stamp and up to 40% off priority mail, and up to 62% off UPS shipping rates. Not to mention a fraction of the cost of those expensive postage meters. Stamps.com is a no-brainer, saving you time and money. It's no wonder over 900,000 small businesses already use Stamps.com. Don't spend a minute of your holiday season at the post office this year. Sign up for Stamps.com instead. There's no risk. And with my promo code Nostalgia, you get a special offer that includes a 4-week free trial plus free postage and a digital scale. Just go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the home page and type in Nostalgia. That's Stamps.com. Click on the microphone at the top of the home page and type in Nostalgia for your special offer today. Stamps. Never go to the post office again. How far are we going with this? Use your special offer today. Like our videos? Subscribe to be notified about them. Want to actually be notified about them? Click on that bell as well. Also, don't forget to check us out on Twitch. Playing some games, telling some jokes, and overall having a good time. Hope to see you there. So while the smaller mouse puppets are a little wonky, the close-up ones are really damn good. I'm sure this is because they could have more detail and control, but when it's far away, it does kind of look like unfinished animatronics for Carousel of Progress.
There's a great big beautiful tomorrow, just a dream away.
Gaster! Gaster! Ooh, I forgot my tail. Ooh.
I think we were all expecting that to go in a different direction. They stumble across the hotel manager sharing his black adder, and they sneak into Luke's grandma's room, who's feeling better.
My darling Luke, what have they done to you?
They turned me into a mouse.
I thought that would be obvious.
They leave tomorrow with a bundle of money.
Down here, Grandma. The mouse with the green outline that would have been keyed better if there wasn't a green book in the shot.
Well, I'd like to say hello to a fellow philanthropist.
You collect stamps?
I love that the villain hates children so much she literally can't say it without almost vomiting.
You give money for the little children. They also give money for the little...
I hope to hate something that bad. I'll get there.
I could get the formula into their food.
Do even the wall decorations have to be scary? It's like a baby being born through a ravioli's vagina. Who am I kidding? Roald will approve.
I will.
He finds one of the potions, but the witches come in, literally putting on their faces.
All right, let them in.
If you're like me, you rewound that scene a million times to figure out how they did that effect. If I had to guess, I'd say she just dropped the mask while the other woman passed by, but Jesus, what perfect timing. Both these actresses must have been like, Christ, we should be surgeons if that was such a smooth operation. Luke gets out and tries to sneak past without getting noticed.
Now the question is, would she like to work?
Let's play the more realistic take. They decide to sneak the potion into the witch's dinner to turn them all into mice. The grandma finds Bruno's parents and tries delicately to tell them what happened.
He is here already. Your son has suffered a mishap. He has been drastically altered.
His head is next to my lipstick, and unless you want to show the casket at his funeral, you'll do as I say. Again, Roald Dahl, tell me you couldn't see that in this.
The witches turn him into a mouse.
You crackers.
Hey, that is our word. She tries her best to convince him, but they don't listen. Meanwhile, one of the maids sees the potion and mistakes it for perfume. Furries have already written 5 stories about what this does to her. Luke and Bruno get separated in the kitchen and try to avoid getting separated in the kitchen. Now you know the secret ingredient for McDonald's fries. It was never a secret. Chef! Ooh, and we also see how their fish fillet is made. He dumps the potion into the soup. Ratatouille exists, as the hotel owner tries to figure out when he can make the bed with the maid again.
I may be a little late.
What a coincidence, so am I. She notices mouse fur on her neck. Get ready for that never to come back. While a real mouse is... Christ!
I gotta get out of here.
Oh, he's just ignoring how his tail was clearly severed in that scene.
I gotta get out of here.
Oh, and I forget to mention, sweet God, I've never been in more pain! Give me 5 centimeters of morphine stat!
Well, I'll be damned. Carson really did have humble beginnings. Oh, if only I could blame this on Mr. Mosley.
Who's hiding?
The witch who made the soup turns into a mouse herself and tries to warn the others.
Don't pass soup, child!
Wow, you are mean.
All the witches are given the soup and start to transform. You saw it too. I guess he saw an opportunity and took it. Too bright, I love him! Once again, we get some really awesome effects with the mouse transformations, and Grandma traps Miss her. Oh, don't worry, kids. She's just gonna be chopped in half with a cleaver. Oh, original PG. Never let me go. Grandma and Luke head back home, but Luke mails himself all the money the witches were gonna use to open the candy shops.
It was the Grand High Witches, and it has the name and address of every witch in America. I hope we have time to take down those American witches.
No, I smell a movie spinoff. But the witch that was always left out of the group turns Luke back to the way he was to show her appreciation. Don't thank her, young man. Thank the test audience that couldn't handle the original ending.
But why do I still have the hots for Gadget from Rescue Rangers?
Don't forget Bruno!
Kill Bruno? Got it! There's an Orca man about to look like the Terminator for him. And that was The Witches. It's mean, dark, and would scare the shit out of your children, so of course I like it. I'll admit the parts where they're mice aren't as interesting as everything else. Maybe because Luke is not exactly the most intriguing character as a human or rodent. But it did allow for some good puppetry and some cool angles at times. Everything else, though, is a lot of twisted fun. Every actor is perfectly over the top, the humor is delightfully harsh, and the visuals are so creative, clearly taking a ton of time and effort to create. It's honestly just as good as I was hoping it would be, being aggressive and demented while also still having a lot of charm and comedy. I guess it is a little disjointed when you think about how many plot elements don't have much of a payoff, but the payoffs they do have are just too awesome to overlook. Zemeckis has a tough act to follow, man, because this is just the right amount of cheesy horror a movie like this deserves. I'm a nostalgia critic, I remember, so you don't have to.
Baby, the friend!
Hi, Doug Walker here, doing the charity shout out, and someone just sent me a email saying, hey, could you do this charity? It really means a lot to me, and I said, sure. So the charity this week is, again, I hope I'm saying it right, the Sturg Weber Foundation, and what this deals with, it deals with, as you would imagine, Sturg-Weber syndrome, which is a neurological disorder marked by a distinctive port wine stain on the forehead, scalp, and around the eye. The stain is a birthmark caused by an overabundance of capillaries near the surface of the skin. Their mission is to improve the quality of life and care for people with this syndrome and associated port wine birthmark condition through tenacious collaboration with clinical partners and pioneers, education, advocacy, research, and friendly support. They have great scores on Charity Navigator and also greatprofits.org. The great non-profits, quite the opposite, sorry. You probably don't want them to have a good report on greatprofits.org. If that's even a thing, I don't know. Anywho, they have great scores on Charity Navigator and great nonprofits.org. Whether it's donating, volunteering, or spreading the word, you can definitely make a huge difference here. Just doing a shout out for, honestly, a syndrome I didn't even know about, I never even heard of. So again, it's good to spread awareness about it, and also donate if you can, volunteer if you can, or just spread the word for these people. They're obviously trying to do their best to help those with these symptoms and just everything. So check them out if you can, or just share the link. That'd be wonderful. And as always, thank you so much.
I foresee over 1.5 goals in the second half.
By Jupiter's hoop. Novibet, more power to you.
Honda began perfecting our next generation hybrid technology over 25 years ago. Because the only thing we obsess about more than our cars is you.
So I just got done watching the remake of The Witches, a remake of the 1990 film, which I only just recently saw all the way through. I've seen bits and pieces of it, but I did not grow up with it, so I think it's important to know going into this. I did not read the book, though I do know the story. I know how it's supposed to end and how that's different from the 90 version and stuff like that. So just quick recap, what I thought of the original. I did really like it. That's a movie right up my alley. I don't think it's perfect, though. I think there are elements they set up that don't, follow all the way through. But the creativity and the ingenuity and the puppet work and just how dark it is and intense it is. It, to me, is a lot of fun. Growing up, I loved all those old creepy 80s kids movies like Return to Oz and so forth, so I really dug it. I really enjoy it. Now we have this remake from Robert Zemeckis that one of the things they're pushing is it's a lot closer to the book. I mean, okay, as someone that hasn't read the book, I guess I'll say, sure, that the ending is a lot closer. Again, I won't go into spoilers with this, but it's definitely a modern Robert Zemeckis movie, and if you've been keeping up with Robert Zemeckis, like I guess a lot of people haven't, honestly, you get exactly what you would expect. This is not a really bad movie, but it's not a really good movie either. It's something you can put on for your kids and, you know, distract them for whatever, an hour and a half. But adults are mostly just going to be thinking back to the original, thinking, man, that was cooler in the original. but there are a few things that are a little better, but not much. The big problem with this film, sadly, because I like Robert Zemeckis, I mean, God, made some of the great, most imaginative, wonderful, technologically advanced films of their time, still impressive now, is that I think he's weirdly out of touch. I feel like the effects in this movie are supposed to be really, like, wowing, like the original. Like, the effects in the original are still, like, phenomenal. I can't believe how good they are. Yeah, there's a few little flips here and there, but I mean, like, it's really spectacular, and I feel like these effects look 20 years old, but Zemeckis is looking at it like, wow, have you ever seen this? Like, a mouse get up and talk in CG? It looks so real, but it doesn't. It very clearly is not real, and there's only a few scenes in this where that doesn't matter, because I think the thing with CG is it either has to look incredibly convincing or incredibly good. And there's a few scenes in this where the CG does look good. One of them is Anne Hathaway. Even though it doesn't look real, it looks creepy, and it's imaginative, and it's creative. They do a few different things with her that they didn't do in the original Witches movie. Which is good. I want something different. And what they do with her, she has these arms that can kind of stretch out and bend, which is cool. You've probably seen some of the clips, the mouth stretching out. Again, does not look real, but it does look creepy. I can see that giving kids some nightmares, which, again, that's the point, so I'm all for that. And then there's one other scene near the end where there's this kind of, I don't even know how to put it, mouse roller coaster, like this mini little roller coaster, and you get to follow along with the car, and I'm thinking, like, that was fun, that was neat. Again, if I was a kid, I would watch that and be like, wow, that's a cool sequence. I wish there was more of that in this. But this is also a film you can tell was meant to be shot in 3D. Zemeckis, ever since he discovered, motion capture and Polar Express and everything, he has been obsessed with CG animation and 3D, which is not bad. There's a lot of stuff that can be done with that, but again, this feels 20 years old, and the simple act of watching a mouse go under a bed and the camera's following it as it runs, the movie acts like that's a big deal, and we've seen that to death. It's just not that interesting. But even that's not really a big flaw if the story and characters are really good. And there's one character that's really good, and you can guess who it is. It's played by a great actress. Octavia Spencer is the grandmother. Fantastic. I mean, there's a lot of great actresses that could play this role, and she just comes in, brings her own take on it, is charming, is wonderful, still has that edge that the grandmother in the original had, just in a very different way. I also really like how the film takes time, and this isn't a spoiler if you know any Roald Dahl book, the parents are not in this movie. So I really like that this film, as opposed to the original, takes time showing the kid gripping with loss, coping with it. And the grandma trying to make him feel better, but also acknowledging, she's lost a daughter, she's lost somebody too. So they handle that very well. trying to think if there's anything else in this film that's actually better than the original. Some of the elements set up do come back. In the original Witches, they talk about this kid that disappears, and then it's never really mentioned again. They have a little hint of it when they go into the hotel, but again, it's never really... It doesn't tie into the story much. Here it does tie into the story, which is nice. I'm saying the word witches a lot in this review, I just realized. Again, where the way the child disappears in the original was very haunting, here they're like, well, let's do the CG thing again, which at first, you know, again, they're doing okay. It's not the picture. They're doing something a little different, and at first it's like, all right, oh, this is a little creepy, but then it just goes full computer generated, and it's not imaginative, it's not neat, it looks fake, and it's one of those things where you just kind of shrug and go, okay, I guess we were supposed to be terrified of that. And it's one of those things where if this was like an original story, even then I feel like it'd still be kind of behind the times. But it's not only is it not an original story, but you have a film that had just these phenomenal effects and grew this cult following that really, really handled this well, and it was haunting, and it was intense, and it was imaginative, and it was with mostly practical effects. You're not just practical effects, Jim Henson, I mean, like, the master of puppeteering and effects, and like, really making you feel like these creatures you're looking at are alive. Even when they're sock puppets, they feel alive. And that's not here, man. It's just very standard CG animation. It's not bad in that they move fine and they have personality, but they never look real. And again, I feel like you have to either do something very, very creative and new, or you have to make it look very convincing, like, you know, the new Planet of the Apes movies, or Gollum, or something like that, like something really groundbreaking. And this doesn't do that. And the only other thing I could think of is if this was shot in 3D, maybe there would be a few more elements where you would go, wow. But without the 3D, it's pretty wowless. You're just looking at stuff you see in commercials, honestly. I think... So the main kid characters are not bad, that they're not really interesting, and honestly they're not that interesting in the original either, in my opinion, but again, it's more the journey, it's more the weird over-the-top characters, and the witches themselves do not have much focus. Again, I feel like they got really good character actors to play the witches in the original, and they did have a lot of personality, and I think that's what's missing from this, because I'm watching Anne Hathaway as the big supreme witch in this, and I'm going, all right, well she's not like, I'm not going, oh, this is awful or anything, but I'm like, why is this not working? But she's a competent actress, and she can be very funny, she can be very charming, she can be over the top, she can be subtle. I mean, she does a decent job, but I was saying, why is this not entirely working? Because she's bringing the big performance like Angelica Houston did. She can be very elegant, but she can be very loud and screamy. But I was saying, why did it work when Houston did it, but not when Anne Hathaway did it? And I think I figured it out. I think this movie is, when it's focusing on going big, it's focusing more on the sound of it. It's focusing on the accents. There's a scene where they go into the kitchen, and there's this over-the-top chef, again, like in the original, but the chef, everything he says is really big. You do not do that, you go here. And it's like they're trying to get the big voice, but not the big personality. The personality of Angelica Houston in the original Witches, you got immediately. She could be very elegant and very suave, but as soon as nobody was looking, she'd take the wig off and she would be angry, she would be pissed, and she would be screaming. She's short-tempered, she would zap anyone that, you know, questioned her ways, and she was very egotistical. You got all of that from her performance, and especially under all that makeup, where you could not express that much. She still got that across. Where in this one, the makeup is more limited against this big smile, this big mouth that she has. But when she's angry, it doesn't sound like she's angry. It sounds like she's trying to do a funny voice. It sounds like she's trying to do an over-the-top accent. When she comes in all elegant and suave and everything, her voice is very big. So, tell me, do you have any mice here? And I'm thinking, if Houston was there, she would do a goofy voice too, but it would be under this personality that you could grasp very quickly, you know. Tell me, do you have any mice here? Like, that's still over the top, but you get what the character is right away, and you don't really get that from Hathaway's performance. I don't think you get it from a lot of the performances. Even Stanley Tucci as the hotel.
Maybelline, New York. New Lifter Plump and Glow Foundation. Plumper looking skin. With a 90% skincare base. 84% agree fine lines of hair minimized. Pairs perfectly with New Lifter Serum Concealer. New Lifter Foundation and Concealer from Maybelline, New York.
Have you seen this?
You coming to bed?
Yeah, coming now. Get into crime at crimeworld.com.
It's time to take a leap. A leap forward with class-leading spec and cutting-edge technology.
Manager, you know, he's doing fine, you know, I guess, but at near the end, you know, he has to do a scene where he's really screaming big and loud, and when you see him doing it, I'm saying, man, this isn't funny because I don't believe it. There is no believability when he screams and this mouse is going up, you know, his pants and everything, you know, going, ah! Ah! Like, it's so over the top and not believable. And again, you can go big, but it still usually has to have some believability. Not always. For example, there's a scene where one of the maids sees a mouse in, you know, one of the mice in Octavia Spencer's room, and she screams, goes really big over the top, tries to hit him with the broom, and then Octavia Spencer turns, there's a mouse in here, and the maid pushes her out, you know, pushes her into the room, I should say, closes the door, and you hear her screaming down the hallway, Now, that's not believable that someone would actually just keep screaming, running down the hallway, but it is funny. And that works because it's a short little scene, and it's like, that's part of the humor. Well, why would somebody act that big, you know, and like be screaming down the hallway, even though she's like separated from them now? But with Hathaway in this, the way you can't just have a short scene like that with a main character. It extends throughout the entire performance. And she's not always bad. There's times where she gets a good laugh. Some of the effects on her, even though they're not believable, they're very creative. She has this snake that goes around her dress that I kind of wanted to come more alive, but you do see the tail starts to shake a little bit and the tongue comes out. The way she floats when she's having the big meeting, you know, that's something they didn't do in the original, and it's very effective here. It's very cool here. So I like that they do something different. I also like that at times having Chris Rock narrate again is good when he's believable. And you know, I loved watching Everybody Hates Chris. You know, he can do very well narrating, especially talking about himself as a young kid. I mean, he's got this down, and he can be very believable, both very funny and very dramatic. But as soon as it starts, you can just see Zemeckis saying, no, bigger, we gotta get the kids going, what? That's a silly voice. And it's half the time it's not believable. You know, he'll go and go, witches are real. Listen to me, you know, and it just does not, it just sounds like Chris Rock doing an act. And I don't think he's, honestly, most of the people in here are just not that funny when you don't believe them. And I think that's one of the major problems. I think it's bizarrely in a movie about witches, it's the believability, because everybody in the original had believability. Even though they were over the top and practically cartoons, they were still believable cartoons. And I think the wow factor is virtually non-existent. There's one or two neat little scenes, you know, with what they do with the witches. Again, more around Anne Hathaway, I think. Sort of the cool witchy stuff they do with her. But aside from that, it's kind of just a very straightforward reboot. And even moves a little slower than I feel like a modern kids movie would. For example, if you do watch this movie, there's a scene where they invite this kid into this meeting of all the witches, and one of them locks the door and turns and smiles. cute. It's a good scene, but she'll lock the door, turn, smile, and it'll just hold on her longer than it needs to. And it's funny because I keep saying, like, movies, especially kids' movies, you know, should slow down a little bit. They should really allow certain scenes to really sink in. And sometimes this movie really does. Like I said, the scenes where the main character has to bond with his grandmother over the loss of his parents, I mean, that's the appropriate amount of time. And even when he goes into the room that the witches are about to have their meeting in, it's very quiet, it's very big, it's, you know, even Chris Rock narrating a little bit has kind of a more quiet tone, and it's like at times they really, really get it. But then there's other times where they either just hold too long on something, like I said, like that witch closing that door, where that needed to be faster to be funnier, or it goes too fast, thinking they're blowing you away with these effects, and they're, like I said, they're just very clearly dated effects, which wouldn't be bad if they were creative, and they're not that creative. So I definitely say, if you have kids, you want to show them something, it's fine. I like that it does keep the original ending, though okay, I won't give away spoilers, but they do show one of the mice older and looking like the person who did the voice. It's a little unnerving, and I don't think it's supposed to be. I think it's supposed to be cute, but it's like, oh, what's really weird. But I think you can show kids this fine. If you're an adult and you like the original, you can probably skip this. I can definitely see, like, die-hard fans that grew up with the original really not liking this movie. I don't think it's that bad because, again, I didn't grow up with the original, though I clearly like it more. I do like how they tie up certain elements better, and I do like their stuff that's different. I like that it's in kind of a different time period. There's kind of a interesting commentary about, like, class in there, which, I mean, it kind of works, kind of doesn't. I don't know. Again, I could see that working better with the original director, the director of the original Witches, but because this is just so over-the-top, colorful, you know, like, everyone talks big, it's practically a cartoon, without as much personality, I don't see that working as well. But it's not bad. I kind of thought that was really going to get in the way more than it did, but it didn't bother me that much. I mean, that's the best way to sum it up. I thought this was going to be worse, but it didn't bother me that much. It is fine for kids. I think adults can skip it. You know, I say just see the original again and marvel at, you know, the incredible makeup and puppetry and creature effects and stuff like that, because there's not really much to marvel at here. There is a little bit. There are some elements that work. I'm definitely not going to say this is a terrible movie, you know, by any means, but it does feel... It feels already dated. I think that's the big problem with it, and I feel like you needed a director that really understands, you know, how to use CG more effectively, you know, where you can watch it without the 3D glasses and still be impressed. So, yeah, that's my take on it. If you saw it, what did you think? I mean, it is nice that it's on HBO Max and you don't have to pay for it, you know, not like Mulan or something like that where you have to pay extra money for it. So that is very nice, and I think this is a good workaround. And I guess if this wasn't originally meant to be played in the theaters, maybe, I don't know. This kind of seems like the perfect release for it. I'd probably be... Though I would like to see it in 3D just to see if that would make some of these scenes better. I feel like HBO Max, you know, just one of the movies on there, is kind of the perfect way to release it, because kids can watch it at home. If they don't like it, well, all right, you didn't waste any money. I mean, you didn't go out and pay more than you probably should, because it would be a 3D movie as well. You know, or if you're not liking it, you can just turn it off, you know. So I feel like this is actually a decent way to release it. But if you're a big fan of the original, just stick with the original. If you're really, really curious, you'll get one or two cool scenes, but not a ton. That's my takeaway on it. But if you saw it, if you have HBO Max, what did you think? Did you think it was a good update? Did you think it followed the book better and got the idea down more? Or do you think the original's, you know, fine the way it is. You don't need to update it. You know, it's just a decent movie for what it is. Let me know your thoughts, because I'm really, really curious. I don't know what the general consensus, the general thought, I should say, is on this movie. So thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Take